What's the Africa you wish to see?
Well, we want an Africa that is in a peaceful environment, in peace with itself, and very prosperous, and able to benefit from its mineral resources, because the continent has been exploited for quite some time now, and we're even called the dark continent when we have so beautiful mineral resources that can benefit and develop this country. A borderless Africa with one army, one currency based on our mineral resources, and one legislature, like Pan-African Parliament that is given legislative powers, and one president of the United States of Africa.
So, still talking about this borderless Africa, which you have been talking about it for quite some time. And most people, they're saying, when you're saying borderless Africa, meaning that criminals must run amok. Can you explain that for people to understand what do you mean about borderless Africa?
Let's go back before the colonizers decided to cut our continent into pieces. We were never a continent, as it were. We're one thing, we're one community that easily traveled from north to south, east to west, without any hassle, until they decided to sit down and decide to slice it. And its borders are artificial, they are not real. It's a propaganda that is being pushed to perpetuate the colonial mentality, because if you take Southern Africa, for instance, it's what these people are saying is just a talk, because in reality, those people relate to each other very well, and they visit each other without any paper or anything, and they marry into each other. They even have children cross-border, and therefore only a naive person who has no appreciation of the continent and its history will talk about borders. How do you say we want a decolonized education, decolonized economy, decolonized everything, but we want borders? Because borders are colonial. They were imposed on us by a colonialism that survived through a divide and rule, that kind of mentality, and they are now perpetuating it by fueling this mentality of borders, because they know that a united Africa it's a serious threat to colonial and imperialism. We will be one of the most powerful nations in the world if we're to unite, and no one can take advantage of us. I mean, if you look at what's happening in DRC and Rwanda, it's so unnecessary. It is because of that mentality that there's someone who thinks this one's belongs this side, this one's belongs that side. No. We will be united as a country, as a continent, but we'll still have states where people will be able to manage their affairs as a particular state, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to geopolitics, we speak as one, and we don't have some small countries being managed by some big brother to create a division amongst African nations.
Some might say that, okay, Mr. Malema, you're saying that very well, but in the same breath, your brothers and sisters are chasing other Africans out of your country.
It's a colonial mentality. It's not only happening in South Africa, it's all over the continent, and even in the diaspora, for that matter, where you find Africans meeting outside the borders of the continent, still unable to unite on the basis of where they come from, on the basis of the language they speak, and so on and so forth. So it's not like when we say borderless Africa, we think that there will be people from all over Africa agreeing. There are some who are not agreeable to the idea, and it's an idea that it is worth canvassing, especially with the high levels of unemployment we have in South Africa, with the economy that is declining, with an economy that is racialized. There are so many opportunities in the continent where our people can benefit from those. You just have to do a quick research to check where they've got a problem of nurses. You go there. If you are a nurse, you are unemployed. If you are a teacher, unemployed. A doctor, unemployed. But because there's this mentality that is created to create an impression that we are superior, and we look at other people with that mentality of them being inferior, and not seeing ourselves actually going to exploit those economic opportunities. I mean, in Zimbabwe, they are trading with dollar. Imagine if you were to get a business opportunity there, legit, how much money you can make, and even create those opportunities for our own brothers and sisters who are unemployed here in South Africa. I mean, look at Dangote, look at Robert Gumede. They are able to make it because their mentality is not localized. They are international. They do business everywhere, and they don't even have any hassle when it comes to making business. So we have seen now Dangote is going to go outside Nigeria to go and do other businesses in other countries in the continent where he saw potential. So that should be our mentality. We should, and no one says people must just randomly go all over. When we say people must be documented, we mean when you enter, you have to enter your entry and then your destination, so that if anything wrong happens, we're able to know who's here and on which grounds. That way, we're able to say we can manage our continent. It doesn't matter how emotional we want to be about it. These guys are here and they're not going anywhere, and they will be here for as long as you want. Even if you build a wall, even if you spend money building a fence. Patricia Dilil tried it and it didn't work. That money could have been used to build another school, could have been used to build another clinic, and so on and so forth. Resources are scarce. They are contested everywhere. And there is nothing called perfect budgeting, even in our own households. Definitely. There's no such a thing as we're unable to budget because we don't know how many we are. When you have budgeted, a disaster happens. When we have budgeted, something else happens. There's always competing interest when it comes to budget, and therefore it can't be that we use that to perpetuate hatred amongst our people.
Talking about that, I remember in 2004, I bumped into you in Liberia at the inauguration of President Joseph Boakai. If you were like an outsider, people would think that you were the president because there were more people gunning for you, praising you more than they were doing with the president. And the following day, you had a lecture in Accra, Ghana. The hall was full. What do you make of that?
Yeah, because I can relate with the people of Liberia, I can relate with people of Ghana, of Nigeria. It doesn't mean I agree. We agree on everything, but the fact that they are my brothers and we're in one continent, I have a duty to reach out to them. And the EFF is the only organization in the whole of Africa that exists beyond the borders of a certain country. You can go to any country, you'll find the EFF. You can find people who resonate with the ideas of the EFF. And that's the kind of mentality we want to build, that you should be home when you are anywhere in the African continent. I mean, I was traveling one day and we were outside the continent for that matter. I think we were in one of the other Qatar somewhere with the kids. And people kept on embracing me, they greeting me and all of that. And I've got two young boys, they were very happy. They're like, our dad is a celebrity for real, you see, because people can relate with me. We cannot perpetuate hate, and people will say, no, but you guys are perpetuating hate amongst I mean, between black people and white people, which is wrong. It's a completely distorted message. They know the real message and they decide to be distorted. To distort it. I've never seen, and I'm still to see, a person who's hated for saying let's unite. Yeah, there's no way where I've ever said let's divide between whites and blacks. I've always said let's unite, but we can't unite if the inequality exists. It will be an artificial unit.
Definitely.
It has to be based on equality, shared resources, shared identity. If you were to say, what is the identity of South Africans, both black and white? What is a shared identity? What is a shared vision of South African? There's no such a thing, because we exist in two different countries in one country.
Yes.
Yes. So, and then they hate you for you saying let's unite. These people who hate us for saying let's unite, they have a potential of killing Jesus Christ. If Jesus Christ was here, they would have finished him off. Okay. Because that's the kind of mentality the people who killed Jesus Christ had, where a person was saying, spreading a good weight that people must unite, people must be healed, they must be support, and we must share the bread and all of that. Then those who don't want to share use that as hate.
Don't you think it's because there are people who are benefiting from us fighting each other?
Absolutely. The unity would mean that less resources for them, because a shared vision would mean that all of us, black and white, say these resources belong to us and they're going to benefit us here. We're not going to just transport them raw as they are without us seeing any material impact in our lives by these resources. They will have this vision of let's have functional hospitals and clinics, and everybody puts support and ideas towards that, and let's have a safe country where we combat a crime and not racialize it and use it wrongly. I mean, let's take, for instance, AfriForum. AfriForum use sorghefar, fear-mongering, to make money. Mm-hmm. And, we can be asked all types of questions. Where did you get the money to go to Qatar? Where did you get the money to get a house? But those boys of AfriForum, they are all over traveling, enjoying life. No one exposes them. No one speaks about them, because they are busy stealing money of fools, white Afrikaner fools, who subscribe to nonsense of being, with the East London case, when Malema is guilty, they send SMSs to Afrikaners and say, we managed to get Malema to be found guilty. We need more money on legal fees to continue fighting this good fight. That's how they make money. They make money out of fear, out of lies, out of hatred, out of division. And we've never seen us say, give us money, we want to kill these white people and push them away. Give us money, we want this case against this white person. No, we don't do that. But they use hate to make money, and that's what they're doing. And they use that money not for Afrikaner youth development. They use it for their own luxurious white life, which is not questioned. Mm-hmm. No one questions them. And we need to reach a point where they too have to be held accountable.
I remember that at some stage there was one wise man once said, when I was poor, no one investigated the source of my poverty. When I start getting money, everyone wants to know, how did I get rich?
Absolutely. Especially if they hate you. Yeah, if they hate you and you're black, they will come after you. You must never even show them where you get the bread, because they will go and burn that bakery.
Yeah. So over the past months and weeks, you have been in and out of courts, fighting defamation cases, fighting for your political career, more especially the Gqeberha case. Now, you have been sentenced to 5 years, which you have appealed against it. Do you honestly think that the magistrate in that particular case went too far?
She went too far because she was using hatred. She was using a race card and looking at who's before her and for whatever political differences she might have had with me without me being aware, because she's South African, she has her own opinions. She shouldn't have used her political views and opinions to sentence me to jail. She should have used the law of South Africa and say, on the basis of this law, we're convinced that this needs to happen. But the good thing with our laws is that there is a recourse. She knew what she was doing was wrong. All they wanted was to see me go down the stairs. They didn't want to see any other thing. I defeated them in that regard. And that's why I was saying to her, bye-bye. And she said, bye-bye. How does a magistrate sit there when a case is done and then the accused is even leaving her inside the court? She has to leave first. Mm-hmm. But the way she was so shocked that this guy is going, she was sitting. I even said to her, bye. She said bye because that was not part of the plan. The plan was that even if he goes for 2 hours, as they are doing up and downs, it's enough. Would have humiliated him enough. So I know how they think. I know their mentality. And you are saying I was in court in the past few weeks. I've been in court all my life. I'm a bush lawyer by now. I understand when they plan this way, this is going to be the next step, and this is how they move. With regard to the lawsuits, for instance, Kenny Kunene and them and all of that, don't lie about me. I don't sue people for fighting politics with me. You can call me anything you want to call me. Like Ngize and them call me Mafinyela, and I can't sue them for that. Mm-hmm. But just do not lie about my name. I carry my grandmother's surname, and therefore I can't go drag it through a mud. That I sell drugs, that I smoke drugs, that I divorced my wife, that I can't allow that. And I'm not just fighting my battles, I'm fighting battles on behalf of my children who can't fight those battles when their name is being dragged through a mud. Kenny knows I don't smoke drugs. Kenny knows I never sold any drugs of Mazoti. I never sold any drugs of Nigerians. I actually don't even know how a drug looks like, my brother. You know, where we grew up, and we're so privileged, and we thank those people who brought us up. There was never a story of drugs where we come from. Now we start hearing those things here. Yeah, you can take me to a drug test. You will never find any trace of drugs in my blood. And then you just wake up one morning, an adult, with not just an adult, grandfather. You just stand up one morning and lie about someone else. The same thing with Ngizwe. You can insult me, disagree with me politically. You don't threaten me. Mm-hmm. You don't lie about me. Then we're fine.
Yes.
Call me anything you want to call me, but you can't threaten me, say you can't enter KZN. Even when Mangosuthu Buthelezi was still alive, even when KZN, IFP was strong in KZN, I was the first one to take the ANC to Nongoma, to go and campaign Nongoma when they declared Nongoma a no-go area. So I can't be told by small boys who don't even know this, such a recent history. They don't know what I'm talking about, that I can't enter. You don't threaten me. I don't do that. I defeat them within the context of the law. Within the Constitution, they say, no, but he insults people and all of that. They may sound like insults, but when you sit down, you realize it's not insults. He's being robust in his engagement. Yes. That's why you are unable to sue him. Because if he's insulting you, you have all the right to do the same thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so you don't lie and even I'm bringing another application next week of contempt against Ngizwe. Because Ngizwe, when the interim order was given, he kept on defaming me, he kept on insulting me. He entered the court box, defamed me in front of a judge and all of that. So we cannot have some drunkards from Teles who think they can just run amok and do as they wish and they're untouchable and act like there's no law in this country. No, we can't allow that. We are lawmakers. And look, they've got no single right even to arrest illegal immigrants, even to beat them up. It is the police who encourage that thing. It is the police who sponsor it. And if the police are sponsoring it, it means it's the state that sponsors them. There's only a small section of society that is allowed to arrest people, push them out of the country, block them from entering this, is the law enforcement officers. Anyone who touches you, who is not a law enforcement officer, is manhandling you, and you can open a criminal case against such people. So I've got no time for a group of clowns that think they can threaten me. They'll never threaten me. You saw even how I came here. Just me and Vuyane and the guy who drives the car. Because we are in a free country. If you want to kill us for what we think, do it. We'll die with our conscience very clear that this is our views. You can't take them anyway. And someone else will emerge and continue with those views. You'll have to kill that person. So you'll become a perpetual killer because you are unable to win people mentally, intellectually. You rely on a sword and the barrel of a gun. We are not like that.
Now, because of your defense in how you felt that the magistrate treated you, now the Helen Suzman Foundation has gone to the Western High Court trying to compel the parliament to decide whether you are still fit to sit on the Judicial Service Commission. Do you think now the NGOs and the other foundations in this country are trying to manage and control how this country is governed and run? More especially, for example, when Donald Trump said there was a white genocide in South Africa, I've never seen any Helen Suzman challenging his utterances. I've never seen them also challenging AfriForum. But now they can challenge other things. When we saw farmers and killing people and feeding them to the pigs, we never seen Helen Suzman Foundation saying anything about it. But now they are challenging you whether you are fit to sit on the Judicial Service Commission. So what's your take on that?
Well, it is for the South Africans to notice that I'm a stumbling block towards some international interest, including some sections of white capital who use these NGOs to perpetuate a certain narrative. I'm no ordinary member of that committee. I make a very positive contribution, especially towards the transformation of the judiciary. And they don't like that. They want a judiciary that is still reflective of apartheid. They never wanted me in that committee from the beginning. There is an organization called CIC. There's an organization called Helen Suzman. They've always been on my case because there are two things they don't want me in. They don't want me in the JSC. They don't want me in Parliament. If they can find a way to remove me, they will be excited. That is undemocratic. I represent a significant constituency in this country, and therefore to wish me away is to wish away the reviews and the aspirations of a certain constituency in this country. So, and that is an undemocratic practice which must never be tolerated or be accepted. I'm not worried about Helen Suzman. They know the law, that once you're found guilty and sentenced to 12 months without an option of a fine, you're not fit to sit in Parliament. But once I appeal that and then it gets suspended, all my privileges continue.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. So it's a very stupid act, which is just going to keep me on the limelight, but also exposing themselves for who they are. Where were they when we're defending the panel report in the Constitutional Court, where a former Chief Justice Ngobo said there is a prima facie case for the president to answer before the impeachment committee. And now I'm in the impeachment committee. For sure, they are also going crazy, like trying to find a way of how do you take him out of the impeachment committee. It is the same enemy agents we fought before, which are continuing. Those people are being funded by the Americans. They're being funded by the outsiders. They say us, who are being funded by emerging business people, we must declare. Business people who have no any other intention except to do business and support the democracy in South Africa by supporting political parties. No, declare, so that they can victimize those people. But when it comes to them, when we say declare, who's funding you, so that we can understand what is the rationality behind the actions of Helen Suzman. It's a big fight. They don't want to declare, they want to hide their sources because they are driving an anti-South African agenda. And they will not succeed. I did not join politics to go into parliament or JSC or anything of that sort. I joined to make a contribution, and I will make that contribution, even if it means making it behind the walls of prison. I'll do it. I will go into that prison and mobilize those prisoners. Yeah. Everywhere I go, I don't play games. They will have to go to the Constitutional Court and say no, Malema is not fit to be a prisoner. Take him out, because everywhere I go, they follow me. You can't jail me. You can't contain me. Everywhere I go, I always make sure I make a contribution. But I'm not going to surrender myself like the weak men. I'm going to fight them, and I did before, and I've been winning against them, and they know that, and they hate me for that. They hate the fact that they can't control me. Why is Helen Suzman not calling for a meeting with the EFF if they are not political, and engage the EFF and say, look, we don't think it's correct for this man to sit there, and so on and so forth. Why are all of these people not calling the EFF? They know that none of them can reach out to us, because none of them has reached out to us anyhow. They don't give us money. They don't control our narrative. We were told that we actually are Rupert funded, we are London funded, American funded, but we are the ones who are being declined visas to go to London, to go to America. And those who accused us of being funded by London and America, themselves, their visas are approved for 10 years.
Yeah, I get that. So now, then, talking about this whole Suzman and the impeachment thing, today the president has filed his papers to review, to take that the parliamentary report on review. The report original came out in 2022.
Yes,
and then he said he was taking it on review, and he would later withdraw. Now, after the Constitutional Court ruled again, he's taking it on review. Do you think it's this grandstanding, or do you think he's got just fighting for his rights?
No. There are no rights. Firstly, we said he's going to review after the EFF victory in the Constitutional Court. We wrote a letter to his lawyers that we've got interest in this matter, and if you're going to review, please cite us. For simple reasons that we know the Speaker of Parliament comes from his party, and they possibly work together. And even if she goes to oppose, she's going to just put an artificial opposition to that matter. and get someone who's prepared to compromise their career to go and represent Parliament, but not put up a case. So we said, bring us in because we've got the interest. He didn't cite us. So we're going to join. We're going to join as an interested party. Actually, it was very stupid of him not to cite all political parties in Parliament, because once Nobo, it's a panel that was established by the Speaker on behalf of Parliament.
Yes.
So it is our property. And therefore, when you attack Parliament, you normally cite all the political parties. So we're going to make an application to join that case and put a proper legal team. I have got full confidence in Zungula that he will come with a proper team as well, because we don't trust in the Speaker to put up a proper team. And the first application we'll make is to join.
Okay.
If they accept us, he will have to make an application for condonation.
Yes.
Because review must be done within a particular period of time. And once those days have lapsed, you have to tell the court why should they listen to the matter, because you took this much. And for us, there's no any other reason he had, because the Constitutional Court said to him, amen, not directly here, you go to the lower court.
Yes.
He had no any other, even if Parliament had said they don't accept the findings of that report. But that report had findings which he had to take on review and clear his name if he was serious about it. But because he thought he politically buried the matter, he left it. He didn't leave it for political reasons, for legal reasons, for rational reasons. He did it for opportunistic political reasons that have killed it. Therefore, I don't have to take the legal route. The law shouldn't work like that, and should have very little patience for such people who want to abuse the processes so that they delay the impeachment processes. So we are continuing with impeachment. We will not stop because the Constitutional Court was very clear. In the absence of a court order, the impeachment process cannot be stopped. So reviewing is not court order. So he's reviewing, we are continuing. You have seen already how the ANC struggled to compose or to put a team of 31 people. Is it 31?
It's 9 from the ANC. The
whole thing is 31.
Yes.
9 from the ANC. They couldn't put up a team of 9 because factional interests are at the center. Instead of the interest of the country being at the center, they are looking at who can best go and defend the president. Look, the national chair of MKP, former minister of police, declared a swimming pool a fire pool.
Yes.
That is his legacy. If you want that, that's fine. And what is even interesting, the Minister of Justice today was part of the team of the ANC that declared a swimming pool a fire pool, where you are just being made fool. You are being made to make fool of yourself. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make facts, put facts before the table, and they must still deny them like crazy people, like, no, we don't care about that. That's not true. And that becomes their legacy. They must not forget. And then when we have a situation like this, we actually owe it to ourselves, and we'll ask the EFF team to release a list of those ANC people who said a fire pool was the swimming pool was a fire pool.
Okay.
So that events like this are used to remind us of what happened in the past, so that the conscience of those who are participating now is very clear that I'm not going to be made to call wrong things, to do wrong things. I'm not going to allow that. The Secretary General of the ANC at some point said, the renewal of the ANC means that you don't have to call a swimming pool a fire pool.
Yes.
He has forgotten about all of that. And today, he wants to put up a team that is going to defend things that are not defendable. So let's get started, and you will see what's going to happen.
A few weeks ago, the former Speaker of Parliament, she was on a podcast explaining what happened back then. Do you think the ANC and the current Speaker of Parliament should learn something from that?
Absolutely. Mbalula is not the person who respects processes.
Okay.
He has got no regard for processes. When a conference doesn't go in his favor, either branches get to be failed or it is going to be disrupted. If all of that fail, he will try everything to make sure it doesn't go to the conference, dissolve that province, and then put an interim leadership which was desired outcome. His desired outcome had that province go to the conference. So if you deal with a guy who has got no regard for processes, you ought to look after yourself. Yes. Because it is going to be your reputation online. He likes calling us flip-floppers. He's the one that ANC renewal means we can't call a swimming pool a fire pool. He's the one who was supporting Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma and changed on the if.
Yes.
On the what is not flip-flopping about that, and without giving any justification. That's not the kind of a person you can rely on when you are about to make such serious decisions about the country. But I think she's a willing participant. I think she's willing to participate in doing wrong things. And both former speakers, the other one was in the fire pool. She allowed wrong things to happen. She had to be told by the court that Zuma must pay back the money and all of that, after protecting Zuma with everything. And then this one, the second one was there when they rejected the panel. But even the one who's presiding now, she voted no. She voted against this report that she's saying she's going to defend in court. I mean, someone should be saying, but she is conflicted, this one. She has shown her hand long time ago, and she's not a suitable person to can even preside over anything that has got to do with the panel report. Because she voted, that thing that they said Parliament did wrong, it was done by her.
Yes.
So who is she to say something that she said she doesn't want to go and protect? Former Chief Justice Ngo can't defend anything. He's done.
Yes.
There's no longer panel review committee. He's done. That thing remains a property of Parliament. So Parliament, as a custodian of Parliament, she must go and protect that which she voted against. It's a huge conflict of interest, and it has got serious contradictions, and South Africans should see it for what it is. And now she's willing to do whatever not even the ANC, Mbalula, tells her to do. And then she wants to be a president. Her name was amongst the names that were thrown around. And she should be working on, maintaining credibility and ensuring that it is not tainted by things that have got nothing to do with her. President Mbeki puts it very clear that Pala dollars are Cyril Ramaphosa's money. It's his problem. So why is it being made the ANC problem? And that should be her attitude. And tell them to remove her. Tell them, I'm not going to do any wrong thing here. You are going to have to remove me. The former speaker, what she did good about the panel, she asked all political parties as to which names do you suggest should form part of the panel. We all made contributions. And then they manipulated it and put, was it that colored or white person from Cape Town who made himself an analyst, always spoke in favor of Cyril. And then we objected his name.
I remember that.
Yeah, we objected his name and removed him. And then that's how that panel ended up being like that. It was the EFF that fought that guy and removed him. And she listened and agreed. Until the last moment, I don't know what they showed her. I don't know, and I don't know why she's not saying it. Until a night before, that woman was willing to do the right thing. That if the panel comes and says the impeachment is the way, there's nothing I can do about it. I have to go to the impeachment. Only to become rude after the thing got released. And now she later gets arrested. And you don't know whether they showed her the dog at that time or what. She is too old. She must come out and say, these people threatened me. She was game. She was agreeing that this is the way to go. She could have even taken that decision on her own. But guys, I'm establishing, as recommended, I'm establishing the thing. The voting will come later. You can exercise those powers later once the process has unfolded. And then she's not saying the president is guilty or not. She's just saying, let's follow the process. She doesn't do that. She does political maneuvering. And even till today, she doesn't tell us. I mean, who's Mbalula to come and tell the old veteran, long-serving member of the NEC and the ANC to say to her, do this? And she's not the kind of a person that can be spoken to the way she was spoken to, the way she's describing it, and she accepts. She calls everyone there, Mtanam, Mtanam. She was going to say, Mtanam, no, you can't do that. We cannot do that. If they didn't show her something scary.
Okay.
Something changed in a second there. Something changed. And this one, unless she's got the same problems as her, because you can't expect that from her. She would have said, look, let's subject it to any process, whatever, and then let's put the best team. And I want to call upon her even now in the choosing of the legal team. She has to call on political parties to say, who do you think, who is the best to can represent Parliament in the Parliament? Since I'm conflicted, I voted no. I voted against the same report. I'm expected to go and defend. So the appointment of any lawyer is going to be biased.
Yes.
Because I've shown my hand earlier. Therefore, please recommend as political parties so that it becomes a collective product which goes to defend, not people of her choosing, because she's conflicted in this matter. And for that matter, we're going to write a letter to her and tell her, your conscience must tell you that you're conflicted, and therefore allow this to political parties in Parliament, consult through as to who are the best people who can go and represent Parliament to defend this report, because of a duty to defend it. When we defend this report, we're defending the former Chief Justice, who can't be left hanging there and humiliated, his name dragged through the mud after we went to call him from retirement. And now it's the turn for us to defend him and his work. We make the process so loose so that the other party can go through. We must not allow that.
And do you remember what happened to the former Chief Justice now after the report was handed over? I think it was widely reported that he was robbed.
Yeah. I mean, intimidating tactics are too much. I mean, we are going to hear horrible stories of what they did in the farm after the dollars. How they crisscrossed the border without papers. how they kidnapped people, tortured them. It's a horror movie, and amongst others, men in uniform, people who are supposed to protect the law, are the ones who are breaking it. Firstly, where in the Criminal Procedure Act do they suggest that if you've got bodyguards and people break into your house, a bodyguard must go and open a case? That is when you start thinking you are above the law. No, my bank card didn't work before I came here. I've got so much help around me. I could have sent someone. No, I had to go to the bank myself and say, man, this thing is disorganizing me. Then they fixed it and then I left. Though there are certain duties you can't assign them to anyone. They are directly to you as a person. But because you think highly of yourself, you ride on a high horse and you allow policemen to mislead you as a sitting president. No, we'll handle this. I will not be shocked if there is a dead body in that farm. Because that's what happens when you say to people, handle this. They don't understand what you say by handle this. They go kill a person and bury a person in a farm because you said, and some of the horrible stories, he's going to be hearing them for the first time. He doesn't know them because he thinks very highly of himself. He says, no, deal with that. I can't get involved in that. I mean, why would you allow that thing called invoice to even be released as an invoice? That thing. A businessman, we are told he's a businessman. He should have dealt with invoices a lot of times in his entire life, a lot. He knows how invoice looks like and all of that. So how does he allow that? You allow that when someone says, I'll handle it, don't worry. And then you take money, you throw money into a problem and you think money will solve the problem. There are certain things you handle them yourself.
Yeah, because for me, what is shocking on those whole thing is three things. One is like, you're talking about bodies. It's very interesting because there's one of the robbers to this day has not been accounted for.
Yes.
No one knows what happened to him. It's when you go to Namibia, they say, no, he's in South Africa. The guys in South Africa say, no, he's in Namibia. Then we say, but where is he? That's one. Two is that Manuela David, the guy who is alleged to be the mastermind, he was shot. He had to jump out of the hotel balcony because people came to his hotel room, shot at him. And the boys says, who sent him to shoot? And who knew which hotel he was and who shot at him? Still, because he could not open a case because of this thing.
And one of them is in prison in Western Cape.
Yes.
And prisoners is ready to speak.
Yeah. The other thing is that the same David, he buys a G-Wagon. He drives it. He's trying to drive it in the middle of the night to go to Western Cape with the G-Wagon. He gets involved in a car accident because the G-Wagon overturned. Whether he was speeding is a different story. He orders another G-Wagon on the spot. Then you ask yourself, how much money do you guys, my guy, how much money do you have that you can order a G-Wagon on the accident scene? And here you are being told there was only 580.
No. Even the figures, people will get to hear the real figures when the impeachment starts. Because those people will start speaking for themselves. No lawyer, no anything. They will sit there and talk about how much they go to how much and how it went about. But, the thing with domestic workers, you just have to accuse them of stealing the money. That lady who called those people and said there's money, you tell her, we are told you are used to stealing money. They say, not me. In what, yeah, this is not the first one. There was another one before this one. So voting is a useless process at the end when your whole image is finished. When you are a sitting politician and you are being accused of such things and you're going to go through such things, the first thing you do is to resign. Because we can have president at the impeachment process for 6 months, what happens to that office when he's at the impeachment for 6 months? Remember, it's the whole week during working hours.
Yes.
Weekend off. That's why you can take 31 people. Let's say each one of them is given a day to ask him questions and so on and so forth. It will take a month if each one of them ask him a question, excluding lead of evidence, who will want to have some days with him. So what happens to the office of the president when you are going through that process? Who puts the president on a special leave? Because when Mutunu was accused, you said when he's busy with Madlanga and the ad hoc committee, he must be on special leave so that police can continue to function. And then when it comes to you, what happens? Because when you are impeached, you are being charged. The prima facie evidence is there. From impeachment to president's office, what happens to the high standards that is required in that particular office? Why do you want to violate the image of that office in a manner in which the president is prepared? Bringing it into disrepute, it's all about you. It's not about that office. It's all about Mbalula and his ego. He doesn't care what happens to that office. Occupied by a person who's going to be asked about criminal activities that were committed at his place by him. Because whether Khanyaho likes it or not, he failed the South Africans. Mm-hmm. Because the president confirmed he traded with dollars. Mm-hmm. Why the Reserve Bank is not finding him guilty? And even go and open a case for that matter, that he used a foreign currency to trade in South Africa. You go to Diamond Walk, in Sante. You can't buy anything with $1. It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. They will show you a shop that does exchange, currency exchange. You go there, you change, you come back and buy with rents. Again, Khanyaho creates an impression that Ramaphosa has got a right to be above the laws of South Africa. All of us must be subjected to that. So it can be that any rational person will allow that to happen. If anything, his group should have started a discussion with him and say, please resign. We'll deal with this. And you know, when you resign, you are removed from the picture. And then every time we come impeachment, people are, because he resigned. I mean, what more do they want from him? He has resigned. So immediately you remove yourself from the scene, people lose interest. And that way you are able to deal with these matters in a proper manner without putting the office into disrepute.
But do you see any of the 9 members of the ANC grilling the president? He's their president. At the end of the day, he's their president. He's their boss.
They will have to make that choice. They will have to choose their boss and choose the constitution.
Okay.
Because Mukwege told them that when you are there, you are members of parliament. You are not members of these political parties. Once you sit, yes, in your party caucus is fine. They can say all manner of things they want to say. But when you're sitting there, your conscience must tell you, no. This we can't allow. Because if we are going to allow it with him, what's going to happen? Remember, the ANC must know is getting out of power. They are getting out of power. They will think a president can be allowed to do these things, only to find that the next president is not theirs, but they've set a precedence. So they must not think as if there's still this majority, and no, they must think of a party that is going out of power and setting rules for the ones who's going to come and who's not going to come from their party. That you dare make a mistake, this is what will happen to you, and even worse.
Okay.
So, but let their conscience speak to them. If all evidence is presented before you and you still refuse it, that's fine. But you know your conscience, and you're going to be irritating us on the corridors. And they're going to be giving us questions, by the way. They will be saying, no, I can't say this, but I think we must ask him this or that and this and that themselves.
Okay.
Because they know he did something horribly wrong. A president can't handle that kind of money, cash.
Okay.
Can you imagine Thabo Mbeki with money like that? Thabo doesn't even have I suspect, this ATM card. I don't think, I've never seen him move money or something. So just imagine a president with dollars. What comes into your mind is gangsterism. Pure gangsterism.
Okay. Now people were saying you had a mentor like Peter Mukabo groomed you from a very young age to be who you are today. Are you doing that to someone else out there right now?
A lot of young people, I am mentoring them without even having an interaction with them. They just tell you, I went to Amaja Friday, and then the president of the awards of best performing student, the president of the LRC in one of the high schools there stood up, and then he was given an opportunity to speak. And he said, I joined politics because of this man. I get inspired by this man. I follow this man. So it's not about saying I'm mentoring Vuyani. And then tomorrow, because I'm called a dictator, they say, no, I've anointed Vuyani. I'm mentoring a lot of young people, inspiring a lot of young people. And I've produced from my hands a lot of young, capable people who can handle any situation, including leading the EFF if that needs arises.
Okay. You are a farmer. You own, do you still have the cabbage farm that got into town?
No, they took that one. They took it. So when I say I'm a farmer, so we claimed a land at home, the Malemas. That's where my great-grandfather is buried, in Moreveng. So we do a lot of farming there as a family. So we do, even eggs we do.
Yes.
We've got cows. At some point, we're producing potatoes for McCain. And there's abattoir as well on site. Yeah, so we do a lot of that and trading with farmers and private sector, more in agriculture. So farming is natural for me. So even when they took that farm, I mean, I'm from township. We grew up without any exposure to such things. But when an opportunity came for me to own a piece of land, I was excited because I used it. I used land for production. And in the EFF, we want land. And we must demonstrate to people now that if we have land, what can we do with this land? For instance, the EFF has got a farm in one area, this site, I'm forgetting the name. We've got a lot of cows there now. Our attitude is that we need to get land and use it and demonstrate to people that black people can use land for economic activity. So Praveen might have taken my farm. The story was written by Kefas, if I'm not wrong, and put me in the front page of City Press with cabbages. And Praveen was very angry. He says, does he still have his farm? Why does he have his farm? And then someone from SARS calls me and says, but why are you doing what you're doing now? Because we thought this thing, the pressure is no longer there. This guy now is fighting with us. But the problem was the ANC had a January 8 that Saturday.
Yes.
And it expected to be in the front pages of all papers.
Yes.
And then I took the front page with my farm, and they got very angry because they had expelled me at the time and they thought I was irrelevant and so on and so forth. So they became very personal. I know they can be very personal and very petty. So But I'm too old now. They can't do such things to me.
So do you think you being expelled from the ANC was a blessing in disguise that now you formed the EFF? And
Well, I think I think the ancestors just worked their way because the ship was sinking.
Okay.
Whether there was EFF or no EFF, the ANC is going to die a natural death. But the problem, they don't make it easy, the leaders of the ANC, so they make it die a painful natural death. And they will have themselves to blame. I'm fine here, I don't have to be having a headache of conferences and then monitoring who's gathering with who where. And then in your absence, you think they're conspiring to remove you or something. You never get sleep. You never get peace. You get summoned. And if we are seen with other people, we get accused of now belonging to a different faction. So every time they say they've got a conference or this or that, I can imagine what the rest of those comrades are going through at that moment. And I'm not in that space. Even if you were to say to me, but go back to the ANC, I can't do that. I'm a principal in a high school in Alexandra. And then you say to me, I must go and be a teacher in one school here, Sundown High in Sandton. Teacher. I'd rather be a principal at the Alexandra High School.
Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, what did she mean to you and the people of South Africa?
She was everything to us. She represented what our mothers stood for. And many of them lacked courage. But ordinarily, all African women in the township and the rural areas, they had to take responsibility to bring us up and to protect us from any potential danger. And that's what she was doing. She played an important role in ensuring that she advances the struggle for the just South Africa. And she did that, single-handedly. They hated her that she was able to pull all of this on her own, a woman, without a collective of men. They hated her for that reason, that how does she do it without us? I mean, if you remember the UDF cabal, the Indian cabals, the Indian cabal was as a result of Indians who had some access to resources, money. And then that's how they managed to buy their influence in the UDF and influenced even our African leaders to hate each other. If they didn't have access to you, to give you money and to control you, and they didn't have that kind of access to her, and that's why they caused all types of accusations against her. When I grew up, I thought of Winnie Mandela as someone who's hated by everyone in South Africa, especially white people. And then we went to her funeral, and then we left the stadium to Fourways Cemetery. When we were going to Fourways Cemetery, it was raining. So the N1 North was blocked for the cars of the funerals only to be on the N1 North. The rest were not allowed to join. But the N1 South was open. But those cars, those people decided to just park those cars on a freeway and start filming that convoy of Winnie Mandela's funeral. And under heavy rain, they got out of their cars, stood there, they didn't mind the rain, and others were waving, saying their goodbyes until we. It's funny now that we're talking about it. We off-ramped into Winnie Mandela Drive. There were whites and white kids who were waving at the hash that was carrying Winnie Mandela. I never cried since she passed away until I saw those scenes. I was in the car and I dropped a tear because now I was told this is the most hated person in South Africa, but people on their own showed love. I went to fetch her from the mortuary a night before. And, you know, a casual thing where the daughters say, no, you need to come to go and fetch her from the mortuary and all of that. So I went to the house. Then we drove to the mortuary. We're all there. The Madigizelas were there, actually in charge of running, you know, our own traditional things of doing things and all so on. So when we're done, we're all called. Then we took the coffin into the ash. But when we're going to the mortuary, and that's why I saw there is something big going to happen here. When we went to the mortuary, the Gogos were taking chairs out of their yards, sitting outside the yard, waiting for us to come back with the hash. And when we came back, we were taking her to a house. The Gogos were like this, seated on the. No one forced them to go take their chairs and sit on the road. That was love. That was them demonstrating the love for her and the wish to say the last goodbyes. Seated on, you can see this old woman, she's too old, she can't stand. The kids are jumping up and down. The Gogos are sitting on the chairs outside their yards in Soweto, like this, wavy their last goodbyes, because their representative, their image, the person they saw themselves in her is no more. All we can do is to do the last salutation. So you can say whatever you want to say. None of them will ever come close to her. None of them will ever even have a funeral close to the funeral she had. They are going to be buried like village chiefs. And that's the end of it. And no one will remember them because they never did anything for the people of this country except to steal from them and promote their own and sell out their own comrades and so on and so forth. So Winnie is no ordinary woman. She's our leader. She's our mother. And she taught us that thing, not to be scared, not to suffer from fear. We must never be fearful and always stand firm on what we believe in, no matter the risk. And I think she did it to the end, and she's still doing it from her grave. Because when I look at the young ladies that are emerging in the movement and in society and how they articulate their positions, many of them reminds us of Mama Winnie. So there we were robbed of the president of South Africa. Men sat down with white men, male Afrikaners, conspired against a female who was supposed to be the first African female president of the Republic of South Africa. And I said it when we were visiting the house in one of the interviews that this one is a brick that the builder rejected. Mm-hmm. Very solid rock. And I think had they allowed her to become president, we're not going to have this difficulty of women being rejected now and so on and so forth. I mean, Nkosazana would have been president, despite what the Didi Mabuza did. I can tell you patriarchy also played a role. Mm-hmm. So Winnie was supposed to be deputy president in Mafike when they introduced Jacob Zuma and told Winnie not to stand. He would have been deputy, and then by virtue of being deputy, be on the throne to succeed the president. They rejected it. They refused it. And that's why at the funeral I reminded them that those who conspired against you, they are here today pretending as if they ever loved you, when they wanted to destroy you. Every turn they took, they wanted to finish her off. But she defeated them, and then she bowed out on her own terms. On her own terms. No one to the grave could tell Winnie what to do and what not to do, especially when it comes to the struggles of black people, especially those who come from villages and townships. To the grave, she stayed with the people in the township.
Yeah.
I mean, if if there was a call that, guys, let's mobilize money and buy Winnie a house in town anywhere, we would have bought it. That's how much people loved him. Loved her. But she refused. She said, I'm going to die here. I can't leave my people here in Soweto.
At some stage, I remember I used to spend more time with her. She told me about the phone call she had to make to you in the middle of the night after Jeff had visited her house. Are you willing to talk about that phone call?
The 2016?
Yes.
Yeah, she did. But the mistake she did was, she said, I must come to the house.
Yes.
And the following day, just before we voted for the mayors.
Yes.
And she said, I said, no, I will come. But when the time came, I didn't go because I knew what is the story.
Okay.
So she called again just before the voting happened. And then she said she can't imagine herself staying in a city where a mayor is a DA mayor. We must do everything in our power to make sure the ANC goes back to power and so on and so forth. And I said, it's okay, Mama, but there are developments and Dali will brief you. Dali was sitting next to me. And then I gave Dali the phone and then I left because I was not going to be the one to say no to her. So I avoided that kind of discussion. Even going to the house, I knew it was going to be difficult to say to her, no, we can't vote for the ANC. You remember what the ANC did to you. You remember what the ANC did to me and to all of us. And that's what loyalty is about as well. You know, if you look at how the ANC ill-treated her, but she never abandoned them. No, but she actually showed more loyalty and discipline towards them even when they were ill-treating her. That is the different kind of loyalty. We are still to study about it at Wits University because it's very rare to find it. Despite that the ANC is harassing us, taking our farms, taking us to SARS, putting us through all pains, and she still says, you vote with the ANC. I cannot see myself under DA mayor and the union building under the DA mayor. We sit in the union building and the mayor is DA. You are not going to do that and embarrass me. I hear you, Mama, but Dali wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
And Dali is the one who told her that no. Mama, we're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. We are going to abstain because the trick was the majority of the oppositions come together. They defeat the ANC.
Yes.
So the ANC needs us in order to defeat the opposition.
Yes.
So we withdrew and said we're not voting anyone. And that's when, by the way, the ANC started losing power. From 2016, it never recovered. 2016, remember, it lost Pretoria and Johannesburg and still gained Ekurhuleni. When subsequent elections came, they lost all metros.
Yeah.
So they never recover where they lose. And now they're at 35 because of Panyaza. Those things that Panyaza was doing of calling people to Orlando to say, come and get employment letter, what, throw your CVs at the halls, hey, what. He was trying to get whatever is left. If you remove that Panyaza, and you want to bring anyone, because the first temptation is going to bring the veterans, those who came before Panyaza. But they are the ones who created this mess.
Yes.
Every time they dissolve, you go and take Amos Masondo. To do what? What will Amos do which he didn't do when he was the mayor of Joburg all along? So, so this thing of ageism and so on and so forth is something else. And Panyaza here is able to demonstrate to them that we can actually have what we call a minority government and it becomes functional. Because when you are in that state, the only medicine to that problem is a permanent consultation. You have to consult your partners all the time. Not this arrogance of ANC people who behave like they're in charge even when they don't have numbers. I mean, look at Tagaza in Igurlane. He behaves arrogantly. And I said to him, my guy, I've seen people like you behave that way and then in less than no time become hobos. He's about to become a hobo now. Remember, the ANC does those things of 3 recommended mayors. His name is not there. So wherever he's sitting, he knows he's not going to be a mayor. Even if the ANC comes together, concoction with EFF after election, his name is not in the tray. So his days are done. Why? Arrogance. To think you are powerful when you don't have numbers. When you don't have numbers, constantly you consult. You talk to people. Sometimes they even tell you to take the person you hate. I mean, he didn't like Dunga. Not that Dunga did anything wrong. But do you know, Z, that we actually started being influential in government since 2016 when there was no outright winner, especially in metros. And then eventually got into positions of MMCs and so on and so forth. Not a single MMC of the EFF has been removed because of corruption or incompetency or anything of that. Till now, these people hate us with everything. They hate Dunga. And then they want to create concoction around him and they realize what we're saying is not true. It goes against the facts. To a point where their own premier says, no, but he was not removed as MMC of finance in Ekurhuleni because he's incompetent. It was personal reasons. Yeah. And once you start bringing personal issues into politics, then you are bound to fail. Maybe Dunga would have made him shine, even if you don't like him, but that is not your family position. Your dislike, you will not call him to your family thing. But yeah, we are for government and there's no outright winner. People said, go and find each other and deliver services to communities. You still behave like you're in power. They are not in power, and the sooner they realize that, the better. Nationally, same thing. Mbalula, extremely arrogant, has got no ability to listen to anyone. He's the only one who's right.
He's your friend. I can't advise him otherwise.
No, he doesn't listen to anyone. Okay. He doesn't listen to anyone. You know, Paul, with all his witnesses, he engages. He consults. The other day you saw us in Parliament, we're talking to each other, standing next to the toilets when we're supposed to pass a budget and they didn't have numbers. And Paul was begging us, guys, please abstain. Because if you abstain, we get the numbers. But if you vote against, you are going to defeat us with these others joined together. We said no. But Mbalula has never, not once, even at that time, taken chance to speak to anyone. None of us, nothing.
Okay, Mr. Malema, with all what you said, you know, now it makes me realize that it's true when people are saying that people have got good stories to tell about you when you're dead, like what you're saying about Mama, what you've seen, have witnessed on the road. And then I'd like to thank you very much for coming here, talking to us and talking to the people of South Africa. This is an unpopular opinion, and I'd like to see you next time. Thank you.